Hey, welcome back to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Like this video. Comment down below. Let me know if you're a fan of Migos, Takeoff. Let me know where y'all from, man. Look, sending my condolences out to Takeoff and everybody, man, because if you really think about it, what's the point of having Quavo and all them people riding around in the hood and everything like that when in Houston they're supposed to ride in circles around the highway on the loop? They're not. It's no point, like that. He has nothing to gain out of that, and we didn't see Takeoff in that car. So it's like, did Takeoff not check in for some reason or something like that because he wasn't in that car, or was he with somebody else? So that's something we don't know. Like, who does Takeoff actually know in Houston that he could? Where could he have been at? Because at this point, they don't tell us like where he was at while Quavo was with them four other dudes. And so that's something that like popped up a red flag, because that could have had something that happened that could have made somebody salty if he wasn't in that video with them. Because that one dude, Big Mike, didn't get a chance to get Takeoff and riding around and saying, you know, if you come to check in with us or whatever, that everything is good in the hood when the Migos come into town, except you only got one of the Migos with you. So it doesn't make any sense for Quavo to be there but not Takeoff. And if Quavo, if the manager dude is there, then why is Takeoff not there if the manager is there? So it's like we're wondering why, like, who's the other dude? And you know, Jazz Prince was driving, but then he goes to his own birthday party and doesn't stay for the cake and leaves early and talks about he woke up hearing everything what happened like everybody else. And so, like, tell me what you guys think about it, because the way everything looked like, it looks like people knew things were coming ahead of time than it might seem as. And what you have to understand is at the end of the day, everything happens for certain reasons. And so there was people were basically put in place like that, seen everything and then didn't say nothing when they seen people taking off in those cars, riding around like in those big old trucks and everything. So everybody basically knew each other at that spot. Is 40 people invited. Nobody in, nobody out. That's not part of the crew. And by the people who are there, y'all all know that, you know, you seen Jazz Prince, you seen his brother and Jay Prince Jr. and everything like that. And then all these party goers, you got Migos there. But then it's like, what exactly are they doing? Because you seen people like bowling and they got the party and this and that. But then once you really take a look at like them arguing over the dice game and then they come outside, it's already closed. So why are they all outside if it's already closed and the security doesn't tell anybody to move around? Because if it was any other club in any other city, security would have told everybody to move around. But it's like they already knew who was actually there, the big group, everybody wearing the mob ties, hats. It's obvious. You've seen it all in the pictures. And then now you look at it, it's like, why are they arguing over the money, the dice, the security, the like them being able to like be with them cost money and stuff. And so they might not been happy with the amount that they coughed up. They might not have been happy with the amount that, you know, they feel like they were probably paying too much too. And that's why Quavo had to stand on what he stood on and had to say what he said, because once he said that, it was already said by him and he couldn't take it back. So when he starts walking off, that's when you see everything pop off. But whole time, everybody, while they're paying attention to that, the dude standing right next to Takeoff wearing a whole yellow entire hoodie is pretty much like sneaking up on him. And you can't see it with what like they already showed in the replays, but you definitely could tell that something is going on at that exact moment, standing right there next to Takeoff. And that's when the whole commotion starts and you start hearing everything and it starts getting wild. And that's why the people run off, because it was basically the dude that was right there next to Takeoff that, like, you know, he's a part of everybody, part of it, basically, because the way they look at it is that they got to look at every single person and rule them out. They got to look at everything. They got to check the cameras and make sure to figure out who pulled up first, who left last, and all of that. Don't forget, it's a whole downstairs, so it's not like it's unknown who got into their cars and whatnot. They actually know it, but you got to understand is that they don't get to be able to access that, because a third-party security company always is the ones who ends up with that footage. And that's how it's taken for a while now, because otherwise you would have already seen it clear with the zoom in. And the fact that they don't have that means that it's something going on with like where they got to figure this whole thing out. And that's why everybody is coming out here looking and trying to get what's the next detail, what's that, because basically it's going to be a long time before they come out and give you guys a report. It might even be like 5-6 months before they say anything about this. And so right now, the whole thing is looking like they're using every department they got to try to figure out what happened, but they in the woodworks right now. They lurking in the shadow, they paying attention, figuring out, are they throwing any more parties like this? What other things did they do before? And all of these, they're like actually got like a bulletin board somewhere in a dark room with like pictures where they done followed them and they connecting the dot, like it's like a pin on there with the line going to the next one. And like, they're like, who's this person? And you met them there and you seen them here, and they ended up at the game and they ended up next to the Takeoff. And that's something that they could have, and they working on it because they trying to figure out, everybody's really trying to piece this together. All of Houston, all of Atlanta, like everybody. And shout out to Atlanta, because you know everyone knows that the OG fans of Takeoff know that Takeoff was the best member in the group. And really, there's no argument on that, because if you understand how Migos even started, it was with Takeoff and Quavo. But if you really look at it, Takeoff had that exact like flow that it might have been him that started it, because if you ask all the Migos, they're gonna all say they started the flow, but it was really Takeoff's. And so, you know, you got to put 2 and 2 together and just open your eyes, look at the facts that everything going on is just revolving, and that it happens for a reason, and that it's no coincidence that right after they break up, everything happens like this. And so you got to basically see between what slipped through the cracks and the people that done like actually got away and slipped out, like the dude in the yellow hoodie. People are still they're still trying to figure out like, you know, what his story is and where like they're looking for him right now. Actually, matter of fact, that everybody's on high alert, because it's like, if they didn't get everybody yet, then that means it's a person on the loose and you don't know who's going to get it next. So that's why they got to get everything under control. Basically, they're going to shut down, have checkpoints probably to figure out the dude. They're going to do random search the trunk to figure out if he's hiding in there or where his yellow hoodie went. Because at the end of the day, if everything happened in 4K, it's the pressure on the people who actually have to do their jobs to solve this, who's going to tell y'all exactly the official thing. It's up to them to basically figure out where dude is, because if it was caught on camera, then they for sure got to be able to solve this whole thing. And so that's why everyone on edge right now, biting their nails, trying to see, is there going to be an end to this, or is this going to be an ongoing thing that just happens? Because it may have tainted or maybe made people second guess and think about, you know, going to Houston again, especially when they're told that they have to check in here and there, and then this ends up happening anyways. So look, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment down below and let me know exactly what you think. And I'm going to catch you on the next one.